Man. Oh, man. Hey, Lucy. What's up? How are you? How is the world? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. We haven't officially started yet, but we will start soon. Lucy, look how chill she is. It's because she just ate. She said, thank you for the food. It was delicious. I drink water from a mason jar. That's something I do. That is something I do. Hi, Anna. How are you? What's up, Karen? What's up, Dan? What's up, Jordan? So, Ron, I finally lost my local newspaper job Friday. I'm sorry to hear that. We got bought out by a big media group. Ugh. Isn't that always the story? But on the plus side, I can watch your show every day live now. All right. Hey, Jordan, I appreciate you looking on the positive. You'll find a new gig. Jeffrey, thank you for the compliment on the t-shirt. I got my tickets to see them in August. I'm stoked. What's up, Edwin? Thanks for the article today. What's up, Matthew? What's up, Lee? What's up, Dominic? I drink water from a human skull. Happy Monday, says Frederick. What's up, Steve? I hope everyone is doing wonderful. How's the audio? I know I was having some issues with my audio. I messed with the mic. I shouldn't have. That was the wrong thing to do. Misanthropic Cat, have you had Jamal Thomas on? Yes, I have. I love Jamal. He's great. I'm supposed to be going back on his show sometime soon as well. What's up, Carrie? How are you? What's up, Mary? Carrie and Mary. Right, one right after the other. Carrie and Mary. Love it. But the audio's sounding good to everybody? Little cat hair on me. Sound is great. All right. Good. Or not. All right. We're almost at 30. Let's see here. Good morning, Brian. How are you? I hope you just chill there the entire time. I doubt you will. But it'd be amazing if you did, Lucy. Just chilling. Just chilling. She's like, yep, I'm chilling. All right. Mason jar for a glass? Yes. And a kitty named Lucy? Yes. Yes to both those things, Tim. Yes to both of those things. All right. We're almost at 30. Once we're there, we will officially begin. Project Sanity. Love you, Ron. What is your view on Spygate? I'm not familiar. You good, Ron. Got professional as speakers for playback. Cool, Carrie. All right. We are over 30. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I am Ron Placone, your host. What does that mean? That means you guys send me articles, and that's what we talk about. I'm seeing everything for the first time. You are seeing everything for the first time. Just a group of folks getting their news on together. It is Music Monday, so we're going to start out with something music-related, and I do a song of the day. And I'm going to have to do this. I know that I do a lot of classics, and I try not to do too many classics, but I'm going to do another classic today. Lucy's already over it. Look at that. She's just done. Lucy's done. She's over. She's like, oh, it's not going to be a song I haven't heard of yet. I'm out. I am no longer interested. Lame, dude. Lucy just bailed. She doesn't care. Tough crowd, that Lucy. But no, the reason I'm picking another classic song on today's stream is because last night I saw Rocket Man, the Elton John movie. I saw it. I enjoyed it. So they take a few liberties with the timeline, just so you know. That's something that they do. They take some liberties with the timeline. And hold on, let me see here. They also they take a few liberties with the timeline. And sorry about that. I just had to jump to an article there real quick. They take a few liberties with the timeline. Like, they don't necessarily go completely chronological with his life, per se. They take a few liberties for cinematography and storytelling and plot building sake. And they also, what else do they do? They go in and out of song a lot. But overall, I really enjoyed the film. And so today's Music Monday, I got to do an Elton John tune. I'm not going to do an obvious one. Your Song, one of my favorite songs in the world. But that's an obvious hit, right? Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, Crocodile Rock. Very standard, very obvious picks. So I'm going to pick a slightly deeper cut. Not a totally deep cut, but a slightly deeper cut, comparatively speaking. The album Madman Across the Water, fantastic Elton John album. It is, the big highlights on that album are the first two tracks, Tiny Dancer and Leave On. Tiny Dancer, of course, classic tune, famous scene in the movie Almost Famous. Famous and Almost Famous, right? So those are the obvious picks, but I'm going to go with something a little deeper, a little more against the grain. The third track on that album is equally fantastic to those first two, in my opinion, and it often goes under the radar because it was not a hit in the way that Tiny Dancer and Leave On were, and that track is Razorface by Elton John, track 3 on Madman Across the Water. Doesn't quite get the same recognition or the same accolade as Tiny Dancer or Leave On, but such a cool tune. Has anyone here seen Razorface hurt his back looking for a place to lay down? Must be getting old. Needs a man who's young to walk him around. And, getting back to the movie a little bit, I don't want to spoil anything, but it really did focus on the story of, Bernie and Elton John. Bernie Taupin, of course, is Elton John's lyricist. And a lot of times people forget about Bernie Taupin. You know, I've had a conversation with a few people over the years, just people I can think of in my life. They're like, yeah, I love Elton John, and man, his lyrics are so cool. And then I got to be like, he didn't write those, right? He worked with a lyricist. He worked with Bernie Taupin. And it also talks about how they are... just kind of how that whole hit factory between the two of them really happened. Like, it talks about how, Elton John really was, a musical prodigy. Like, he just was on the piano. And Bernie Taupin would just scrawl out these lyrics, and they would just put it together. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie was the scene when they developed Your Song, actually. That's such a cool scene. And I've heard that story in real life before. I mean, I've heard Elton John tell that story about when they wrote Your Song and what it was like. So I was really curious to see how they were going to portray that in the film. And I was not disappointed. That was a very, very cool scene in the movie. I highly recommend it. If you're an Elton John fan, or as Brian points out, a Reginald Dwight fan, which they talk about that a lot in the movie. Reginald Dwight, of course, is Elton John's real name. And they kind of talk about how he's trying to figure out who he is, so to speak. Mystic Warrior, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. And good to see you. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that very much. Carrie says, I need to send you some Death Grips, Romplacone. Think you dig them as most musicians get what they do, and it's brilliant. The late David Bowie said, Death Grips are the future of music. Cool, email me a track. It'll be a future song of the day. But I do recommend that movie. If you're an Elton John fan, you'll really dig it. If you're not as familiar with Elton John, the timeline is not totally chronological. They also jump around as far as songs go. But you can still totally follow it. It's still very easy to follow. And it's just a fun film. It was a fun rock pick. They wove in and out of music, so it had a bit of a rock opera feel to it, a bit of a musical vibe, and it was all Elton John music. So if you like Elton John music, you're definitely going to be happy with the soundtrack. I am an Elton John fan. It's one of, I thought about this as I was going to the movie last night. I think there's only 2 cassettes that I ever completely wore out in my lifetime. One of them was an Elton John's Greatest Hits cassette, and the other was Nirvana's Nevermind. And I think I did it to Nirvana's Nevermind more than once. I think I had to buy that on cassette 3 different times, because these were in the days when portable CD players really sucked or just weren't even around at all, and Walkmen were the way to go. That was like the portable cassette players, and I like to walk and listen to music, so I still had a Walkman for a while. I still do have one. No, I'm just kidding, I don't. But I used a Walkman for a long time, because when, I don't know if y'all remember, but when portable CD players first came out, they kind of sucked. They weren't that good. They skipped constantly. So the first time I got one, like the first portable CD player I got, I was like, this is some bullshit. It was a gift, it was like a holiday gift from my parents or whatever. And it just didn't work. So my parents actually returned it, and I just kept using my Walkman. And then I didn't get a portable CD player until a little while later when they perfected them a little bit more, or they were a little more advanced. Sometimes it doesn't always pay to be an easy adapter, Sometimes it doesn't always pay. But anyway, Rocket Man, great film. As a result, Song of the Day, Razorface by Elton John. I'll make one more. Well, actually, you know what? I'll make my next announcement. Have another announcement. And also, Mr. Broken Oz, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. Very much appreciated. And Mr. Broken Oz says, Action for Assange, hashtag Action for Assange. Julian asked us to be his voice. Please do follow that hashtag Action for Assange. And Anthony Chisholm, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. Mr. So there you go. Mr. is the super chat contribution. All right. Some of you guys are pointing out some other cassettes that you wore out. Yeah. Anna gives a shout out to School of Rock. That was a fun movie. That was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It's been a while since I saw it. All right. Let's go to the news of the day. And we got some, here's something a little breaking. We'll start here. So, we talk about how the Trump administration has more turnover than a third-party pyramid scheme, which is true. The Trump administration has seen tons and tons of turnover, and, well, guess what? They're seeing a little bit more. Let's check out this article, shall we? Trump's top economist, Kevin Hassett, will depart. He was tired of giving economic reports to the president, having to use connect the dots and paint by numbers to explain it to him. All right, here we go. Kevin Hassett, he's bouncing. There, look, he's waving. He's waving. Kevin Hassett, the chairman of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, has often been a voice inside the administration for a more traditional conservative view of trade. What are the other voices saying? This guy has a conservative view on how we should do things like trade, as opposed to the more progressive views. What are those? Where are the progressive economic views in any issue in the Trump administration? Please, somebody tell me. Where are they? This Kevin Hassett guy, we're losing a conservative voice in the Trump administration. I don't know how we'll survive. We need that diversity. That diversity of a white dude saying conservative shit. We do not have that much in the Trump administration. Said nobody ever. All right, but here's Kevin. Kevy H was what his friends called him. I don't know if that's true. All right, so the chairman of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, this Kevin Hassett guy, he's bouncing. And Donald Trump said that's happening on Sunday. Winnowing another advocate of traditional conservative positions on trade from the ranks of Mr. Trump's advisors. Mr. Hassett has not publicly telegraphed an intention to leave, but he said in an interview on Sunday night that he had discussed the move with the president last week and that it was not related to trade policy or any other contentious issue in the White House. Sure. Yeah, sure it's not. It's just normal circle of life kind of things. Right. Dude, bro, it's just like circle of life stuff, man? Like, I mean, I got on this ride doing economic stuff for like a proto-fascist in the White House, and then I was like, dude, like my aura is just not lining up anymore, bro, and I'm just ready to do other things, man. I think I might go surfing. I might do some stuff for a nonprofit, like I might try to help hungry people throughout the world, man. I mean, that's just it's just circle of life, dude, like you just let it happen. Like some people, they wake up with an agenda. I wake up and I'm just like, what's happening for me, like what's going to happen? What's going to happen in the world? I just want to let it in. Trump would be like, hey, how's the economy? I gotta know, because I gotta say some stuff on TV, blah. And I'd be like, dude, I mean, look around you, bro. The birds are chirping. The economy's going, bro. Circle of life. Whoa, economy. Hey, do you want a coffee? That's economy. Bro, like, economy is breathing. Kevy H, peace out. All right, let's see what else Kevin is up to. Big Kevy H, just a circle of life. That's what Kevin's saying. Nothing to do with policy disagreements. The president and I are quite friendly. Bro, like I saw into the president's soul, man, and he's like a good guy. Like he has that same soul that George W. Bush had, and I don't mean the soul that was the shoe that hit him in the face. I mean like fuck his heart, man. His heart. And President Trump's the same way, bro. I totally got along with him. He insulted my entire family a few times, I think. But I don't even know, man. It might have been Ted Cruz. I'm Kevy H, bro. Just let it in. Circle of life. All right, Kevy. Here we go. I'm sure Kevy is nothing like this character I've created for him. Kevin Hassett, who has done such a... Here's a tweet from Donnie T, which is what Kevy H would call Donald J. Trump Donnie T. They had that kind of a relationship, I speculate. All right, so Kevin Hassett, who has done such a great job for me in the administration, will be leaving shortly. His very talented replacement will be named as soon as I get back to the U.S. I want to thank Kevin for all he has done. He is a true friend. But he's leaving me because everybody leaves this administration. All right, so a little bit more about Mr. Hassett, the guy who just sort of likes to let life happen. Mr. Hassett was an economist at the American Enterprise Institute, a conservative think tank in Washington, D.C., with the most generic name on the fucking planet. American Enterprise Institute. They might as well just call it, like, Corporate Stuff, Inc. American Enterprise Institute. What do? You could do anything. Enterprise in America. We don't know what the fuck that is. That could be a movie company. That could be a conservative think tank. That could be a really boring band. That could be an album. That could be a band name. That could be a mason jar project where you're just like filling mason jars full of water, being like, let's drink out of these. American Enterprise Institute. What if I worked there? I would have to I would need a lot of caffeine because I would get tired whenever I just said the name of where I worked. I'd be like, welcome to the American... Oh shit, did I do that again? I'm sorry, I'm in charge of giving the tours and I just can't the American Enterprise Shit, was that me again? The American Enterprise Institute where we... You know what? Life's too short for this. Let's just go. And then Kevy H comes in. He's like, bro, totally, I'm with you. Let's just go fishing, man. But, we're not going to catch the fish. We're going to let the fish catch us. Bro, let's go to the lake. And I'm like, Kevy H keeps this shit interesting. He's like, I'm going to go work at the White House, and then I'm going to fucking quit, bro. And I'm like, all right. So that's the American Institute. That's what goes on there. Let's get back to this dumb article. Let's see here. All right, so in the administration, he's been a champion of the corporate tax cut that Mr. Trump signed into law in late 2017. All right, well, that's good. We all know that's helped out the economy a lot. All right, and he's defended Mr. Trump's trade policies, and he's often been a voice inside the administration for a more traditionally conservative view of trade, one that pushes to open markets to trade and often opposes tariffs. Mr. Trump's favorite weapons in his disputes with China, Mexico, and other trading partners. And I'm sure there's a big lack of conservative voices in just sort of letting the corporations do what they want and exploit around the world. I'm sure he's one of few people pushing for that inside the Trump administration. All right, so Kevin Hassett's gone. Another member of the administration gone in the Trump White House, which again has more turnover than the third-party pyramid scheme. But good luck to Kevy H, bro. He's just going to let life happen. Totally. All right. Moving on. Here's a Music Monday story. So Apple might be shutting down iTunes. So I've just seen the headline for this. So let's see what's going on here. All right. Apple may finally shutter iTunes, but the iTunes era ended long ago, all right? Okay, so here's what's going on. The iPhone maker is expected to announce that it will replace iTunes with dedicated media apps. Apple is widely expecting to formalize the end of iTunes as we know it at its Worldwide Developer Conference in San Jose, California, Monday, when the company will give us a first view at the next versions of its desktop and mobile operating systems. As part of that update, Apple is poised to unveil new standalone music, TV, and podcast apps for MacBooks and desktop computers. It's kind of already going that direction, which I think the article points out. With that step, Apple is effectively decommissioning iTunes as an all-encompassing media app some 18 years after first introducing the software. Damn, iTunes has been around that long? 18 years? Has it really been that long? Holy shit. Everybody should feel old right now, or at least I do. iTunes has been around for 18 fucking years. Is that really? Wow, okay. Or maybe just the software? It's not totally clear. All right, anyway. All right. When late Apple CEO Steve Jobs first announced iTunes at Macworld Expo, January 2001. Damn, he pitched the app as the company's take on so-called jukebox software. Apps designed to rip CDs and organize music libraries. iTunes is miles ahead of every other jukebox application. And now the jukebox blew a fuse, so to speak, and it's the end of an era for iTunes getting more specified things. Getting just a specific podcast app or a specific music app, which is what most of us have on our phones already. Now they're just expanding that to desktop. So it looks like speculation says iTunes is going to end. Or maybe it's just going to be iTunes 2.0. We'll see. But I have a feeling it's going to end. And it's just going to be kind of similar to your phone, except for on your desktop where you have music and you have podcasts and the works. All right. So that's happening. Keep a lookout for that. iTunes had a good run, but I guess a lot of people said, I'm over it. All right. Sorry for that. We're done here with this story. All right. Let's see. Here's something interesting. We'll stay along apps and social media here. This is something pretty shitty that the United States is doing. I feel like that could sum up most of the stories we cover on this show. Here's something shitty the United States is doing. This is a Kurt Vonnegut coffee mug, by the way. Here's something shitty. We could just call that the show. Get your news on with Ron, where people send him shitty things the United States is doing. Most of the time, some other people send shitty things all around the world. Shitty things other people are doing. Shitty things rich people are doing. All right, but here's something shitty the United States is doing. This takes us to the BBC. U.S. demands social media details from visa applicants. All right. So the State Department regulations say people will have to submit social media names and 5 years' worth of email addresses and phone numbers. When proposed last year. So that means like... Does that mean like the bullshit email account from like college that you use to give to surveys or something like that when you have to give an email address for something, but you know you never want to receive what this entity is going to email you, so you give them a bullshit email you haven't used in years? Do you have to give them that one? I still have my Gmail account that I had synced up to my graduate school email. I still have that, and that's what I'll do. When I was like, you want to take our signature and you give us an email? That's the email I give. I have not checked that email in years, but I'm sure I'm on a ton of lists at this point, like email lists with that email address. Anyway, all right, so State Department. Oh, wait. Sorry about that. Let me get back to the article here. State Department regulations. All right, so 5 years. Certain diplomatic and official visa applicants will be exempt from the stringent new measures. However, people traveling to the U.S. to work or study will have to hand over their information. We are constantly working to find mechanisms to improve our screening processes to protect U.S. citizens while supporting legitimate travel to the United States, the department reportedly said. Previously, only applicants who needed additional vetting, such as people who had been to parts of the world controlled by terrorist groups, would need to hand over this data. That's ironic, isn't it? Isn't it? Did that mean people from the United States had to hand over their data? All right. But now applicants will have to give up their account names on a list of social media platforms and also volunteer the details of their accounts on any sites not listed. So if you're on some like social media type thing that barely anyone knows about, I guess you have to talk about that too. It's a good way to promote new social media stuff. Be like, oh man, you're not on Fart Finder, bro. You're not on Fart Finder. It's this new social media app where it like tells you, it measures the potency of your farts, and you can meet friends in your neighborhood who also think it's funny. You should totally join Fart Finder, friendly visa person. All right. Anyway, so let's see here. Trump administration first proposed the rules in March of 2018 because they got good priorities. At the time, the American Civil Liberties Union, a civil rights group, said there is no evidence that such social media monitoring is effective or fair, and said it would cause people to self-censor themselves online. Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. U.S. President Donald Trump made cracking down on immigration a key plank of his election campaign in 2016. He called for extreme vetting of immigrants before and during his time in office. On Friday, Mr. Trump vowed to impose gradually rising tariffs on Mexico unless the country curbed illegal immigration at the U.S. southern border, where, by the way, we have a net zero immigration going on at the border, and we have way less undocumented workers than we did 10 years ago. So that's actually what's really going on. And all the other stuff you hear is just fear-mongering from the right in the Trump administration. Because we need a good scapegoat, don't we? We need a good scapegoat. And, you just bounce. The corporate media just bounces from marginalized group to have a scapegoat. Because you know who's really responsible for our woes? The 1% and the plutocracy that really runs this country. So you need a scapegoat. You need a scapegoat, whether it be immigrants or the LGBT community or women, or you get the idea. You need some kind of a scapegoat. Or Russia. Need a scapegoat. Because otherwise we might actually think, hey, this is fucked up. This is what's really going on. We live in an oligarchy. We got to break the wheel. That might be the realization a lot of people come to if we don't have a scapegoat for distraction. All right. So that's some ridiculous move that the Trump administration is making. Now you have to, they're going to comb your social media if you want to come here on a visa. Great. All right. Let's talk about Pete Buttigieg for a minute. Marcus shares this. This is about Pete Buttigieg. And I like saying his name like Count Chocula. I just enjoy it. All right, so here's something about him. Democrats are increasingly critical of Israel, but not Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg's staunch support of Israel bucks the Democratic Party's trend. I don't know if that's true on a mass level, but okay. According to the article, that's what's going on. That most of the Democratic Party is being more critical of Israel. Ilhan Omar is, Bernie Sanders is, Tulsi Gabbard is. I don't know. All right, but anyway, Pete Buttigieg may be a rising star in the 2020 Democratic field, except when you actually take polls from actual people, but his strong pro-Israel views may put him at odds with the increasingly pro-Palestinian left flank in his own party. 37-year-old openly gay mayor of South Bend, Indiana, has in the past described Israel as a model for the U.S. on how to deal with security threats. Wow, okay. He's blamed most of the suffering in Gaza on Hamas, the Palestinian Islamic political organization and militant group that has run the territory since 2007. He's also strongly rejected condemnations of Israel. So this is the one thing he's taken a stand on. This is the one thing Pete Buttigieg has actually taken a stand on. And, I referenced that other time when I saw Pete Buttigieg, and he was talking about how, we need to come together in this country and, saying all that stuff, saying how Trump has divided us and all this other stuff. And then what does he talk about? The issue he picks to talk about, immigration. He talks about immigration, how we got to meet midway on immigration. One group wants to completely demonize immigrants and use it as a total smokescreen and distraction from what's really going on. The other group is like, well, we can do a little bit of that. Let's not do it a ton. And let's talk nicer when we do it. Bipartisanship. That's what Pete Buttigieg was talking about. And now, where's the other strong stand Pete Buttigieg has for the Israeli government? Not the people of Israel, the Israeli government. The right-wing Israeli government. The right-wing, brutal Israeli government. That's the other place where Pete Buttigieg has a strong stand. And those are his only strong stands, by the way. That's it. Healthcare, he doesn't have a strong stand there. He's in talks with unions, whatever the fuck that means. Doesn't have a strong stand there. He has a strong stand on Israel. Because he wants to be in good standing with AIPAC. And this guy, yeah. So there you go. That's where Pete Buttigieg is. Let's see if there's... And I don't want to go through the whole article here, but... So poll after poll, according to this article, that this puts him in stark contrast with the more progressive wing of his own party. Absolutely. So does everything else he stands for, pretty much. Poll after poll has shown that liberal Democratic primary voters are less sympathetic to Israel than they were in years past. It also shows he disagrees with some first-term representatives, particularly Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who I forgot to mention earlier, so I'm glad the article pointed that out. Several of his rivals for the 2020 Democratic nomination, most notably Senator Bernie Sanders, who, unlike him, actually has a following, are also far more critical of Israel than Buttigieg. Sanders has repeatedly condemned Israel for violence at the border with Gaza, where time and time again Israeli forces have killed mostly unarmed protesters, including women and children, pleading for an end to the decade-long Israeli blockade of food, fuel, and medicine. So there you go. There's, you want Pete Buttigieg to take a strong stand. That's where he'll take a strong stand, in support of the Israeli government. There you go. He'll completely look at the issue from one side and one side only and take a very strong stand from an organization that he plans to benefit from financially. That's Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. Who, by the way, has polled 0% in some fields. He's polled 0%. Zero. Which is what he has to offer the field, by the way. Zero. Nothing. All right. So there you go. Oh, and by the way, here's a report that's indicating why someone like him wouldn't win anyway. This is an article from Salon. And, on this show, we talk about this idea that another status quo politician isn't going to beat Trump. They're just not. I don't just dislike Joe Biden because he's an absolutely horrible candidate. I dislike Joe Biden also because he's not going to beat Trump. He'll lose. Another status quo politician will lose to Trump. Why? Because that's what happened in 2016. Oh, and you know where Trump's at right now? Trump is more popular than he ever has been right now. Largely because of the corporate media failing to actually hold him accountable for what he's really doing and instead focusing on all these distractions. So Trump's actually more popular domestically than he ever has been. I know you can be, oh, well, look at it. Everybody's making fun of him in London, which, yes, it's funny. I'm getting a laugh out of it, too. But, if we're not careful, he's going to laugh all the way to re-election. And another centrist won't beat him. We've been saying that on this show for a long time now. Well, there's a little bit more to back it up here. Let's take a look at this article from Salon. There is hard data that shows that a centrist Democrat would be a losing candidate. Here's 3 Democrats who would lose: Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris. This would also make the most boring band on the planet. No, it wouldn't. There'd be more boring bands than these three. Joe Biden would really, he'd probably play, I bet he plays trombone. Joe Biden looks like a guy that plays trombone poorly. Like he can play like one riff or something, and he's like, yeah, in my heyday, I was pretty good. I bet he plays trombone. There is hard data, so he'd play trombone, and I don't know what everyone else would do. There's hard data that shows that a centrist Democrat would be a losing candidate. Economist Thomas Piketty, which, by the way, Thomas Piketty wrote that book criticizing capitalism that ended up becoming a bestseller. For those of you that remember, and the article referenced this. Anyway, let's get into the article here. The Republican Party has earned a reputation as the anti-science, anti-fact party, understandably perhaps given the GOP's policy of ignoring the evidence for climate change and insisting on the efficacy of supply-side economics despite all research to the contrary. Yet ironically, it is now the Democratic Party that is ignoring mounds of social science data that suggests that promoting centrist candidates is a bad losing strategy. The mounds of data to which I refer to comes from Thomas Piketty, the French political economist who made waves with his 2013 book, Capitalism in the 21st Century. This paper, entitled Braham Left versus Merchant Right, Rising Inequality and the Changing Structure of Political Conflict, analyzes around 70 years of post-election surveys from three countries, Britain, the United States, and France, to comprehend how Western politics have changed in that span. I said spanned. All right. Sorry. First, the sheer amount of data analyzed in Piketty's paper is stunning. He and his researchers analyzed voters in those three countries by income, education, party, gender, religion, and income disparity. The final 106 pages of this paper consist of graphs and charts. This is a seriously detailed data analysis that took years of work, and any intelligent political party operative should take it very seriously. Guys, the president of show business is calling me right now. But I'm not going to pick it up because I'm busy. President of Show Business will have to wait. It's probably about a Netflix special. They probably want to give me one. And I'm just going to have to wait to pick up that call. Because my getting my news on will not wait. It will not wait. All right. So, let's see. Where are we at here? High education elites now vote for the left. Well, high income, high wealth elites still vote for the right. Okay, note the scare quotes around the left. Part of Piketty's point is that the so-called left parties, like the Democratic Party in the U.S., the Socialists in France, and Labour in the U.K., have in the past two decades not really been that left, at least on economic issues. Yeah, no shit. No kidding. The Democratic Party isn't... you can't call them a left party at all. Okay. Okay, so here's something the article says, or here's something, that the paper says. And here's the theme here. Without a strong, egalitarian, internationalist platform, it is difficult to unite low education, low-income voters from all origins within the same coalition and to deliver a reduction in inequality. Extreme historical circumstances can and did help to deliver such an encompassing platform, but there is no reason to believe that this is a necessary nor a sufficient condition. To translate from academic academies, an egalitarian internationalist platform means the kind of political platform that articulates a shared global struggle among all the poor and working class people around the world. In other words, a class-conscious platform that recognizes that rich people are not on the same side as the rest of us and have different interests and are eager to exploit us. An egalitarian means the opposite of nationalistic or xenophobic. Unite in a common class struggle, you might say, towards a mutual goal of universal civil rights. I'll break it down a little further. Beat Trump with something. Trump is xenophobic. Trump is nationalistic. You can't just say, I'm not xenophobic. I'm not nationalistic. That should go without saying. You should take it a step further in being, I'm recognize the poor struggle around the world and how we can play a role domestically in fixing it here in the United States. Which in turn will help around the world. Beat Trump with something. An actual platform that unites the working class. That's really what that is saying. And we live in an outsider time. We live in an outsider time. In the circles who support Donald Trump, he is considered an outsider. A lot of people supported him in 2016 because they thought he was some outsider. He's not. He's just another member of the 1%. He was just on the different side of the fence. Instead of one of the politicians being bought, he was one of the people doing the buying. That's what he used to be. Now he's just on the other side of that fence, but he's still the same guy. He's not an outsider at all. But as far as branding is concerned, he is. So another status quo politician ain't going to beat him. They're just not. It's an outsider time. You got to fight an outsider with another outsider. Fight a fake populist message with a real populist message, with a genuine one that speaks to the economic struggles of the working class, that speaks to the failures of the systems around the world that have caused this problem. Because neoliberalism, capitalism, has caused problems like this all around the world. The United States is not alone. So somebody with a message to actually combat that could beat Trump. Somebody was just more of the same, saying our system's fine and Trump just talks mean and I'm not going to talk mean. They're going to go up against Trump and they're going to lose. And there's data that supports this. Best-selling writers, renowned academics support this and are echoing it. So there you go. And we could not exchange these ideas without a free and open internet. Which brings me to my special announcement for today. Some of y'all know I have been working with the organization Fight for the Future on a day of action for net neutrality. That day of action is happening on June 11th. Go to the website epiclivestream.com. That's epiclivestream.com to tune into the stream on June 11th. And go in the meantime to submit your comments for the live stream itself. June 11th marks 1 year since the FCC repealed net neutrality, and we're here to send a message to Congress, to the FCC, to the internet at large, that we want a free and open internet, that we're not going to give up this fight, and we demand real net neutrality. Keep in mind, and we've covered this on this show extensively, the Save the Internet Act of 2019, which gives us our net neutrality protections back. It passed the House, but Mitch McConnell said it's dead on arrival in the Senate. How have the Democrats responded to this? Well, unfortunately, now they're willing to buckle on net neutrality and work on some compromise bills that aren't compromises at all. They just take away net neutrality from us. They're not real bills. So we need to stand strong, and we need to tell Congress we demand net neutrality. Over 80% of the country supports it. It's not a partisan issue. It's something that the people demand, and we got to stay strong on this. So we're having an epic day of action for net neutrality on June 11th. Go to epiclivestream.com to participate. Boom. Let me see what you guys are saying, and that's how we'll end the stream today. All right. Y'all know, is Ron a Southern boy? I am not. I'm from the Midwest originally, but I did live in Nashville, Tennessee for a little bit, so I say y'all. And I just like it. It's a fun word. It's a fun word. All right. Alfonso, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. Want to see a Ron reacts to Trump versus QE2? Well, send me something on it on Wednesday, which, by the way, another quick announcement. We are not going to have a show tomorrow. No live show tomorrow because I'll be doing some other things in regards to this campaign with Fight for the Future, but we will be back on Wednesday. So mark your calendars for Wednesday. Yeah. All right, y'all come back now, you hear? All right. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Frederick says the Clinton third way Democrats have taken over the party. That is very true. And by the way, third way is code for we're not progressive at all. Let's see. R.D. Patterson, president of the shoe business, Ron. You read that wrong. All right, I'm not sure what that's referring to, but that's funny. Wore Out Gotcho by Steely Dan. Oh, we're talking about other things we wore out. And Jeffrey wore out Gotcho by Steely Dan. Was it on cassette? That's awesome. I like it. Did any independent media get to interview Bernie when he was in Pasadena? I don't know. I personally did not, but I also didn't try. So I actually don't know the answer to that. I just kind of hung out for the event for a bit, and then I bounced. But I'd imagine, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. David wore out my Palace tapes. I'm not sure what that is. Is that a band? I'm not sure what that is, but right on. All right. We are totally out of time. Guys, tour dates, I got them. Danny, any inside info on the California Democratic Convention? Not that I have. I know that a bunch of people got booed, but that's not inside info. That's just sort of out there. Like, I know John Hickenlooper got booed because he said that we shouldn't have Medicare for all, and he said that socialism is not the answer. He got booed for that. And I think some other status quo folks got booed as well. But that's all I know. Everything I know is just kind of public info. Rusty Hicks is going to be in charge of the party now. How packed was it at the Pasadena event? It was pretty packed. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. You rock, Ron. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. I appreciate that very much. Guys, tour dates, I got them. East Coast, we're coming next week. Don't wait. Get your tickets now. June 12th, we're going to be in D.C. June 13th, Baltimore. June 14th, 15th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. June 16th, New Haven, Connecticut. June 17th, New York City. June 19th, Boston, Massachusetts. Get your tickets at ronplacone.com. That's ronplacone.com. ronplacone.com. Don't hesitate. Get your tickets now. Grandma and I are coming next week. And the Day of Action for Net Neutrality, epiclivestream.com. Day of Action for Net Neutrality is June 11th on the internet. Tune in, tune often. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/ronplacone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content. You help me keep this stream on the air. You help me expand this stream. You help me do more stuff with it. So please, if you are so able, patreon.com/ronplacone. And hey, if you can't, I totally get it. That's completely understandable and no problem whatsoever. Please do like and share these videos. Put it on autoplay in another window and let the ads play through. And don't just do that for me. Do that for all the content creators you know and love, because that helps sustain our channels. And without a free and open internet, we couldn't do any of this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be back on Wednesday. No live show tomorrow, but I'll be back on Wednesday right here, youtube.com/ronplacone at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. That's on Wednesday. We'll be back. Until then, stay safe. You know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.